Welcome in, everybody. Solo show today. Just doing a little NBA playoff preview with you guys. Kind of wanted to go over some of the games. And I know it's not locked in because you got, at the time we're recording it, the Heat and the Bulls are currently playing. The Warriors and Grizzlies played last night. The Warriors won 121, 116. That game was it was interesting. Um, Not the biggest fan of how many foul calls Jimmy Butler gets and the way he gets them. All in all, I think the Grizzlies showed a lot more fight than what I expected. I expected the Warriors to go out there and win by 15 ish. But yeah, the Grizzlies played amazing. I thought John Morant really showed some guts. Desmond Bain, going into it, I was thinking to myself, I was like, all right, Desmond Bain really has to have a big game if this game is going to be competitive. And he did. He had a really good game, hit some big shots, some difficult shots, some clutch shots as well. Zach Edey, my man. How about when you get the ball in the post, you don't bring it down there. You just got to have it above your head at all times, okay? Just too many turnovers, too many loose ball turnovers. I think the refs kind of saved the war. Draymond Green should have been out of that game a little bit earlier than when he did foul out. I think that there was a couple foul calls that were questionable, but all in all, great game. That was actually a really good game. I enjoyed it a lot. Right now, we got the Heat and Bulls. Score is currently 10-5. Yeah, I got the Heat. Actually, no, change of heart. I'm going to do Chicago. I think Chicago's young. They're pretty fast. And I like Buzelis, or however you say his last name. Matisse. Kobe White, pretty good too. Josh Giddey's decent, but yeah. Anyways, moving right along. So let's start with the Thunder. We'll start with the West. Thunder will end up playing the winner of the Grizzlies. And let's go and make our prediction right now. I'm going to say the Kings. I personally believe that the Mavericks are just looking forward to the offseason. It's probably on at this point it's 1-2-3 Cancun. I just don't really think they have what it takes to even get past the Kings, and that's saying a lot because Sacramento, boy oh boy, they questionable decisions for them this year. They decided to bring back the Levine DeMar DeRozan duo that worked so well for Chicago. But yeah, I don't really see them doing much. I think the Grizzlies will end up winning that game, even with John Morant's rolled ankle. That was scary. You don't ever want to see that happen, especially in play-in game. It's like out of all times that could happen, it happened right then and there. So hate to see it, but hopefully he's good to go, ready to go for. I believe this game will be on Friday. I'll have to double check, but yeah, ultimately rooting for the Grizzlies to get out of there. And then that would set up a Thunder Grizzlies 1-8. And I mean, granted, there'll be some fun games in that series, but that's definitely going to be an NBA TV exclusive. I don't really think you need to broadcast that on the national scale. I think the Thunder are going to steamroll them. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, I mean, the Thunder are just really good. There's no doubt about it. I think out of an 82 game sample size, I think they've shown what they're capable of, and their consistency is what really cannot be overlooked. I know everybody talks about the lack of playoff experience, and I even myself have talked about the lack of playoff experience for the Thunder. But ultimately, I think they get it done. I think it's going to be I think Thunder will sweep. I think Thunder will sweep the Grizzlies. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizzlies snuck one win in there. So Thunder in 5. I wouldn't be surprised just because of how they play. They seem to really want to prove something ever since the firing of Taylor Jenkins. But I just don't think they have enough. I think when Edey has to be great for them to really have a chance in that series. And it's just tough because Edey's still super young, but he's a beast. Like he's frustrating to watch at times. I mean, the man cannot pass out of a double team to save his life. Watching that game last night was super frustrating. It's just, and these putback dunks, dude. What the freak? doesn't have hand-eye coordination or something, hands not big enough. Excuse me, gotta take a drink. Coconut water. But yeah, I mean, if Edie makes two putback dunks last night, it's a different game. And I know it's like you can't really say that after the fact, but I just believe that if Zach Edey does 1 to 2 more like less fouls, and they end up winning that game last night. But all right, moving right along. Let's go to this Rockets Warriors series. This series is going to be really good. I think it's going to go 7 games. I know it's the same thing that we talk about with the Thunder. The Rockets are right there with them, if not worse, because they don't have any playoff experience. They have players with playoff experience. Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, Fred VanVleet. Can't forget about him. Actually, NBA champion. And yeah, I think that's it for as far as playoff experience. I'd have to double check again. But I just think that, oh man, this is a tough one. I'm just thinking about how the Warriors have the playoff experience, right? I think Steph is unbelievable in the playoffs. That thumb may be a bigger story. Watching him last night, he did all right, but he definitely just it looked like if you like bumped him, it would like amplify his pain and he would be in a lot more. I don't know. He doesn't seem right now, but they got playoff Jimmy. Dude lives at the free throw line, but hey, different story, different day. But yeah, I think the Rockets have so many bodies and just young dogs to throw at Steph Curry that to make him uncomfortable for a 7-game series. I mean, Amen Thompson is probably going to win a Defensive Player of the Year here in the next couple of years. He's a freak. If he just hits a couple of 3 balls too, I mean, that could really shake up this series. Ultimately, I do have it going 7, and I do have the Rockets winning. And I just think if they can really make it a physical game, have Tari Eason coming off the bench and just throw him at Steph Curry, just like they just have so many bodies and they're just so physical and they're young and they're fast. And I think that they'll present a lot of problems for the Warriors. You have the 3 aging vets in Jimmy, Draymond, and Steph. Sorry, I should have said Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. But yeah, you got the aging vets that are still trying to prove something. And I just think the Rockets are just hungry. Ime has done a hell of a job coaching him up all year. Called Steph Curry a pussy to his face or something at halftime. He's just saying, stop complaining about the whistle. I can get behind that. But that's where I stand. I'm going to go ahead and say Rockets in 7. And it's not just because I don't want the Lakers to end up playing the Warriors. I'm not just being I actually really thought about this, and this was one of the harder series for me to have to pick because I don't want to get burned by Steph Curry going absolutely ape shit, now that he has a little bit of rest. That's why I'm just going to say 7. I think it'll go 7 games, and I just think, am I going to change my mind live in the moment? No, I'm locking it in Rockets, even though I was just going to say Jalen Green, the youngsters, they need to hit tough shots down the stretch. But VanVleet, can't ever count him out. And I just think that they have, when you go back to that game, not but a week and a half ago, the Rockets Warriors, you saw Amen Thompson lock up Steph Curry to have one of his worst career games like I've ever seen. 3 points, I believe he had. And he was just had him in the doghouse all night. And I think if he can do that for 7 games, all I need to do is win 4. And if they can do that for 7 games, then I think it'll present a lot of issues for the Warriors. So yeah, that's my pick. We got the Thunder in 4, Rockets in 7. And now we move on to the Nuggets Clippers, another fun series that I also have going 7 games. Actually, no, I have it going 6. I don't think it'll go the full 7. Quick score update. We have Miami 28, Chicago 16. Yep, Vucevic on the rebound. But yeah, back to this. So I think 6 games, and I have the Clippers winning. I mean, it's just they're playing really good at the right time. They're playing really well. Everybody's healthy. James Harden is looking actually like, I'm not gonna say old James Harden because he's still a little bit every now and then, but he's playing really well. Kawhi's playing amazing, and Zubac deserves some more love out here. You know, he's a freaking beast. The Lakers should have never traded that guy. That guy's a fucking monster. He's a problem. He should honestly get more looks at Defensive Player of the Year, but I honestly think he deserves to get more consideration for Most Improved Player of the Year as well. You look at his stats as I go and pull them up real quick. Let's just take a quick look at Zubac's stats here. Yeah, let me read you some of his stat lines here. Versus the Warriors, the dude did 22 points, 17 rebounds, 11 to 16. Kings, 17 points, 8 to 10 shooting, 11 rebounds. Versus the Rockets, 20 points, 9 to 13 shooting, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. Versus Spurs, 24 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists. For the season, he's doing 16 points, 62% shooting, and 12.6 rebounds. Averaging also like 1 block a game. That's pretty good. And you go ahead and look at, if that's not Most Improved, I don't know what is, because you go ahead and look at his 2023 season, 2023, 2024. He's averaging 6 more minutes. This year he's doing 32. Last year he was doing 26. He's averaging 5 more points. He was at 11 last year. He's at 16. He is down 2% on shooting, but with more opportunity, more minutes, that balances itself out, equals out. Last year he had 9 rebounds. This year he has 12. Yeah, so I feel like he's improved, you know, and whether you want to just, that's why I feel like, and if you listen to the last pod, we were talking about why not just rename it to, hey, high draft pick that has finally started to bloom award instead of Most Improved, because a lot of people get overlooked, you know. He just doesn't have the narrative, you know, essentially is what I feel like. He doesn't have the narrative to get any looks as far as like any of these awards, especially with, I feel like, no, that's gonna be a reach. I was gonna say he has a little bit more of a, like, he matters a little bit more to the Clippers defense than I feel like Evan Mobley to the Cavs, but that's a reach. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's a reach. But back to the playoff bracket. So I have this series going 6. I think Jokic is gonna have to play his ass off. I think the Clippers also just have too many guys to throw at the Nuggets. You know, you talking about Jamal Murray, who hopefully can come back and be healthy. That's the big issue here, is if Jamal Murray could come back and just have a couple of Jamal Murray games on the road rather than at home, then I think that the Nuggets could end up flipping this thing. But yeah, when you look at the Clippers lineup of Nunn, Zubac, Harden, Kawhi, and then you throw in Norman Powell, like that can create some problems for this Nuggets team, who cannot play defense to save their lives. And if Kawhi's back to being Kawhi, hitting that 20-foot mid-range with absolute piss missile of consistency, then I think that the Clippers will end up winning this in 6 games. But if the Nuggets role players, and is it safe to say Jamal Murray might be a role player at this point? I don't know. We'll have to think about that. But I won't do it to him right now. But yeah, I think if Aaron Gordon could hit his threes, he's having a hell of a year from 3 beyond the arc, career year. I think if Michael Porter Jr. can do what he does against the Lakers, against the Clippers, then yeah. And if Jamal Murray can be like, oh yeah, I give the Lakers 50 points every time I play him. It's just like shooting it in the same gym. If he can do that, then I think the Nuggets can actually win it in 6. But as it stands right now, from what I've seen leading up to this, my analysis has the Clippers winning in 6 games. And that's no hate to the Nuggets. I think actually that opens up a whole nother can of worms. I think with what they've done, I don't know. Adelman's a good coach. That Mike Malone story is just absolutely wild. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I read the story. I just don't. I have a hard time understanding it. You know, it's just, I'm just not the biggest fan of like the stories coming out after the fact. Granted, that's typically how news works, but I don't like the shitting on people as they leave. Same with Luka as they try to, like, the Lakers didn't do that with AD. Granted, some people did, but hey. So yeah, we got Thunder moving on to play the Clippers. We got the Rockets moving on to play, y'all know, Ant-Man, Spider-Man, Lakers in 5. I think the Lakers actually 6. I think Lakers in 6. But Lakers in 5, why the hell not? Ultimately, this will come down to if Rudy Gobert can stay on the floor. I think if he can somehow manage to, and what people forget is, I know Lakers fans, myself included, I love watching that highlight of Luka hitting the step back on Rudy. You know, call him up, switch hunt, ISO, step back, little 3, boom, motherfucked him to death, motherfucker. Yeah, so awesome highlight, but that's what that just was. It was just a highlight. Granted, he was saucing him up all series. I still think that we need to remember that Rudy Gobert, there's a reason why he's still in the league and he's still considered for getting some nominations for Defensive Player of the Year. The dude's a menace on that side. His offense is piss poor. I don't fuck with him on the offensive side. I don't really like the guy in general. His game, I don't know the guy at all. But just for the sake of keeping things unbiased, I do think if he can stay on the floor, it'll create problems for the Lakers. Granted, when they decide to go small with Naz Reid, where they got Dante DiVincenzo and McDaniels, and then Randall, Naz Reid, that's not a bad 5 to compete against the Lakers small ball lineup of Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui, DFS, and LeBron. And that's what the Lakers want to do. They want to play small. So I think if they come out and they can just get Rudy off the floor, this goes out in 5 games. I think the Timberwolves will end up stealing one in Minnesota. I don't think Minnesota is an easy place to play in. And do not sleep on the Timberwolves either. Like, this is why I say if Rudy can stay on the floor, this actually might work in the Timberwolves' favor. If you look at the Timberwolves stats this year, in every like major statistical category, they're actually really good. They just have had like some really bad luck as far as like wins and losses and just like bad luck, you know. Let me see if I can pull some of these up. Pull some of these stats up real quick. Let me see where they at. Shout out to Basketball Reference as I do this. Keeping you guys updated. We got Miami up 33, Chicago 21. Who's I looking at here? We're looking at the Timberwolves. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, so middle 13th in points at 114, 5th in defense at 109 points. Offensive rating is 8th in the league. Defensive rating is 6th in the league. Net rating of +5 and at 5.1, 4th in the league. So when you guys factor in a lot of those stats right there, and I know it may seem like it's not a lot, but to put this simple, they just had shit luck. That's all it chalks up to when I look at this. Nikhil, if I'm the Lakers though, I'm scheming open Nikhil Alexander Walker. I'm letting him shoot all the threes. You don't want to leave open, obviously, Anthony Edwards. DiVincenzo's a freaking menace too. Dillingham, we'll see if he gets some run in the playoffs. We'll see if he gets some burn. Okay, now let's go ahead and check out the Lakers. So yeah, they're actually 19th in the league in points, 10th in the defensive rating as well. Points per game, I mean. Defensive rating, they're 15th out of the league. Offensive rating, they're 12th in the league. Net rating of +1, 14th in the league. And they were expected to go 44 and 38. motherfuckers. Yeah, as we look at this, yeah, sorry guys, I was spacing. I was reading some stuff. I think so I think Lakers in 5, but don't discount Rudy Gobert and if he could stay on the floor. So I'm a little all over the place with that one. And now we move on to the East. All right. So as it stands, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Miami wins this game. So that sets up Miami against Atlanta. Fucking Atlanta, man. Atlanta. I think, honestly, the Heat, I don't know. It's like pick less of the worst team, you know, like the Hawks, they just need to figure out what they have really nice pieces. Reese Shea, Daniels, and then Okongwu. I do think they have to maybe look to see if they can trade Trey this offseason. I think it's time. I just don't know what he is. You know, like I know he's a scorer, but like, is he? Like, because when the other team's in the bonus, the dude he's the worst player to watch. He's worse than fucking Jimmy Butler and Shea Gill. When the other team's in the bonus, the dude just looks for the call, and it's just frustrating to watch. But okay, let's workshop this real quick. Would you rather have Trae Young or Ja Morant? Let me know in the comments below. I would say if I'm Memphis and you kind of see this new buzzer beater. If I'm Memphis, do you consider moving off from Ja? And if I'm Atlanta, do you consider oh no, wait, what am I talking about? Memphis to Atlanta, Ja Morant will not. Never mind. I don't know. I just think that if you're Atlanta, you have young pieces. And don't forget about Jalen Johnson, who honestly is the X factor for that team, because I believe with Jalen Johnson, they beat the Magic. But then it's they lose to the Celtics. Like, I'm not saying with Jalen Johnson they're a contender, but they're fucking formidable. They're really nice with Jalen Johnson. I think losing him was a big blow to this team. And yeah, I do think they have to move on from Trae Young. That's just my opinion. Deal with it. But yeah, so I think the Heat beat them, whatever, and then doesn't matter because they're getting swept by Cleveland. Whoever ends up winning that matchup is getting swept by Cleveland. Cleveland's just too dominant. They're just all year. They've just been kicking ass all year. I'm going to pull up their stuff real quick and let's see. Yeah, okay. Offensive rating, first in the league. Defensive rating, 8th in the league. Net rating of +9. So they're second in the league in that. Jeez, man. Wait. This is... Okay, let me go back to this. So, okay. SRS is second in the league at 8.81. Had to read up on that. I didn't know. I was like, what the fuck, SRS? Yeah, so Cleveland smokes them 4-0. Bring out the brooms. Move along. See you in Cancun. 1-2-3 Cancun. Same shit with the Dallas Mavericks on the other side. I think Atlanta's checked out. If the Heat win, go ahead. You did it without Jimmy, cool, but you get swept. And let's just get this out of the way. Celtics sweeping the Magic. Okay. No doubt about it. I think Magic, they're just missing Jalen Suggs. And they could also, I don't know if you're the Magic and you watch that, or actually, and you see Trae Young perform how he performed last night, if you try to go for him in the offseason. I know there's all this talk about like the Magic are a piece away. No, they're a year away from being like a year away. They're not like a piece away. Like I don't think if they go out and go get Kevin Durant that they're a championship contender. I think they still have a lot to learn. You know, they're super inconsistent on offense, and then when they're bad, when they have bad shooting nights, they have really bad shooting nights, like terrible. I think they relied too much on Franz, and I think they relied too much on Paulo. Granted, a lot of that could be due to the Jalen Suggs injury, And sorry, I'm not looking at you guys. I got the dual monitor up right now. But yeah, I think that ties into the Jalen Suggs injury. Like Wendell Carter, what are we doing? Jonathan Isaac, good. He's back on the basketball court, but just too inconsistent. I think Goga is fucking awesome. I love him. He's really good. Having a hell of a season for him. Good for him. He got paid in the last offseason, so that's always great. But yeah, I think the Celtics when they find the matchup that they like, they're like probably the best in the league at exploiting whatever matchup they want. You know, if that makes sense. So say Tatum gets matched up with Wendell Carter ISO, and that's just the matchup they want. They'll do that consistently. They did it when they played the Lakers. They were just going directly at Luka, and then when Luka was off the court, they would go directly at Austin. You know, like they're just really good at picking a weakness and just jamming it. You know, sticking it to them. And I think that they've obviously. It's kind of the same thing with Oklahoma City in the West, or yeah, OKC in the West. Like with Cleveland and the Celtics, we've had an 82-game sample size, and I can't imagine them not being who they are, who they've shown us to be. You know, if that makes sense. Like they're the two best teams in the East, and I think the East is just gonna. We're talking like straight up collision course for the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll get there, but. I'm really interested with this Knicks Pistons series. I think this is going to be old school basketball, man. And I'm not one of these hating old heads that just hates like the new NBA. I actually really like it. I think we got some young stars. The game's in good hands, but obviously, you know, it's playoff time, baby. Everybody wants a little bit of chippiness. Everybody wants a little bit of shit talking. Everybody wants Isaiah Stewart versus PJ Tucker in the first round, baby. Everybody wants Madison Square Garden, Detroit in Madison Square Garden. Like, that's just classic. Like, if you don't want that, you're not a fan of basketball. And yeah, I think this game is going to go 6. Actually, you know what? I'll go 7. 7-game series. And I think you know, I'll say it like this. I'll be really disappointed if the Knicks don't win. Yeah, I think they made too much moves in the offseason for them not to get past the Pistons in the first round. Yeah, with that being said, I'll do Knicks in 6. Or no, 7. Knicks in 7. 7. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons do win. I do think that they're also a year away. They got the other Thompson brother, Azur. He's pretty dope. He's pretty decent. I mean, he's not his brother, but if they could just develop a jump shot, they will be really good. I really like what they got going over there. If Malik Beasley could come in and give you 20 points, have like a Malik Beasley game, they can steal one in New York. Cade Cunningham can continue to, I guess, keep on improving because he's most likely going to win most improved. Then, yeah, I think they'll put up a good fight. I think Isaiah Stewart's looking for a good fight. Speaking of fights, I think PJ Tucker's looking for fights. Dennis Schroeder on the Pistons. Like, we're just going to get really good competitive basketball. And that's probably going to be one of the better series of the first round. Like, I think this, if I'm being honest, looking at the bracket, I think this has potential to be like a really, really good NBA playoffs. I think once you get that Bucks Pacers series, it's perfect for them, right? Because they're about the same. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just think without Dame, I don't think the Bucks really can. I think they just can't afford to go down 2-0 and then Dame come back game 3, you know, in Milwaukee. But his first game back, it's just he's a professional and he's freaking really good. But I just don't know if that's the position you want to put him in coming back and then have him go 8 of 16 for 16 points. It's just not ideal. And then go down 3-0. So I think that'll be a really good competitive series as well. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I'll go Pacers in 6. Yeah. And that moves us on to the second round. So we got on the West, we got Thunder versus Clippers. Thunder versus Clippers. This is a series that if it does get there, I think that's going to be one to keep an eye on as well. We'll preview the second round when it actually gets here. I just kind of wanted to get on here today and preview what we got so far. I've been waiting so long for this finally to be set, and it took up until the last day of the NBA season, the final game, for us to finally get the bracket. So I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy. This was a nice little episode